Alright, welcome back to Shop Talk. We are going to do an episode today on the Novice Hind. The Novice classes at the WCB are set up to teach people how to forge a little bit. We don't give you the piece of steel that you want. And when I say that, this time in Madison, we're going to have steel that is 12.5 inches for the hind of 1/2 by 1 1/4. Well, if you just turn that, no one would put that dimension on that size foot. Kind of the forging task at hand is to make a shoe that is appropriate size section for the size foot that you would put it on. And so no one would put a 12.5 inch piece of steel on that. So what we're going to do is neck it down. You're trying to get the right breadth or width and the thickness. If you go too far, then you have too big of a foot and a spindly shoe that's all spaghetti and not quite enough section to hold that foot. The stipulations for the shoe is it's got to have 6 E7s, and you want the E7 to fit in there pretty nice and tight to where they tip it upside down. You want to be in the center of stock. The center of stock is a good place to end up. You don't want to be outside, you don't want to be inside, but that shows that you have control of the head stamp, and that's the secret of drawing out your steel. If you draw it out too much, you have a narrow section. A narrow section means that center of stock, you don't have enough hoof wall. So that's kind of your guideline is you want to put the right breadth of stock to where you can go center, and then you have your nails down center. What you're going to notice in the video is that you're going to use a stem punch. Something that's a little tighter than what you really want so that you can get to the bottom, drift your nail hole in there, and not blow out the sides, and then you can still forge on your stock after you're done punching it, and that way you still got room to finagle. Alright, we got a Tony Kingery head stamp that's set up, and it just pushes everything out just sweet. So I don't want to wreck this because, as you obviously know, once you drive it in a piece of steel a few times, the end mushrooms and it loses its shape. So I use a sacrificial stem punch. I drop it into the bottom, get all the material displaced, and then I push out the sides with the nice head stamp. I would say that, the key to this is that your transition, you don't want to have your clip start before your clip. You want to have your foot weight-bearing surface be flat, and then a crisp transition from here to the clip. That's something that you want to notice about the video. Keep that in mind. When you narrow it up, you're always going to narrow it up on the outside because material swells to the hammer. And you're going to be upsetting blows to the inside heel. Keep an eye on that. And you're going to have drawing blows for the medial heel. There is so much more material on the lateral side than there is the medial side. And a lot of people say, well, beginners center punch it, this or that. But you want to get used to having more material on the lateral side. That is the whole advantage of making handmade shoes. The main thing with a pairs class is you want to have a left and a right, and you want to have them lay face to face or back to back and be a pair. They want to be appropriate size. If they're chunky or if they're too drawn out, that'll affect you. You want to have your nail holes be spread out amongst the whole section that you need. If you put 3 nails in a 2x4 and you put all 3 nails in a real close tight space, all you do is you traumatize that area. So you want one of the main benefits of a handmade shoe is that you're at the back edge of the stock and you're at the widest part of the foot, at the fold of the foot. And then you divide the material. If you bunch them up, what happens is you just fracture or stress that one area, and you don't get the whole utilization of those 3 nails being spread out adequately. It looks different to people who are not used to shoes like a keg shoe sometimes puts four nails or sometimes 6 or 7, and then they get bunched up. You have the luxury of using that whole space and put them where you want to have them, which is widest spot, back edge of the stock. This shoe right now measures, for you guys going to Madison, about 6 1/4, and it measures from about 6 1/2, and that's something that you would put on that size of a horse. A nice warm blood or a cob, and a little bit of boxing on the outside. So we'll make this shoe, and hopefully this helps you a little bit. I wanna be the sunshine.